Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing my February wrap-up. I read a total of 9 books, so let's get started. The first 2 books that I read this month, I completed a trilogy this month, and that was the Ruby Red trilogy. I finished Sapphire Blue and Emerald Green this month. I really did enjoy this series. This was such a mind-blowing series that I've ever read. I thought the whole time travel aspects of the series was amazing. I really do enjoy Kerstin Gier's writing. It was amazing and flawless. I loved all the characters in the story and the developments that happened throughout the entire series. I still wondered how this series ended up being a trilogy and not like a 6-book series, because that to me, that's how it felt like to me. When I was reading, especially reading Sapphire Blue, I was thinking that, like, how could this series be only 3 books when it should be 6? So I was so blown away that it was only a trilogy and not 6 books. But, you know, this series had an amazing end, and it was a fantastic trilogy, and I really highly recommend anybody to read this series. If you're a fan of Doctor Who especially, I think you guys should read this too. I know it's kind of out there, but because the time traveler is actually a girl rather than a guy. But me being a fan of Doctor Who makes me really love this series. So I gave Sapphire Blue and Emerald Green 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and I give the overall trilogy a 5 out of 5 stars. So yeah. The next book that I read this month was for the Yearathon, and I only got to 2 books, but it was okay because that I counted Emerald Green and Sapphire Blue as part of my Yearathon readathon read, because those books were pretty diverse, and last month's theme was diversity, so those books were pretty much dealt with a lot of diversity, because they were different from me. They were both published originally published in German, so yeah. And the next book that I read for the Yearathon, that was my top pick for the Yearathon that I had to read, was Cinder by Marissa Meyer. I was so surprised at how much I liked this. I really loved this book. This book was so amazing. I thought the world was just so amazing and cool. I just was so surprised. I actually really loved it because, you know, I'm not really a person to read anything about cyborgs or like robots or anything, but this was such a good read. I loved Marissa Meyer's twist on her retelling of Cinderella, and it was just such amazing. Prince Kai and Cinder. Oh my gosh, I love Prince Kai. Prince Kai was probably my favorite character in this story, even though the ending was kind of rough, but by this world, and like the characters were amazing and whatnot. The plot's just amazing. Everything about Cinder so far is amazing. I can't wait to continue with the Lunar Chronicles series, and yeah, I'm just so excited to continue on with the series, and I can't wait to see what happens next, especially how Cinder ended. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to read more. And the next book that I read in February was a graphic novel, and that was Anyas Ghost by Vera Brosgol. This was a very cute read. It was kind of a cute, quick read for me. This was my second graphic novel to ever read. The first being American Born Chinese, so just comparing the two, they both have pretty interesting stories, and the illustrations, I kind of liked American Chinese Born better, but the illustrations in this book is pretty cool too. I loved how easy of a read it was for me, and I just really loved I really was kind of blown away too with the characters being Russian in this book. I immediately thought they were a different ethnicity when I started reading this book, but they were both Russian, so that was pretty cool. I thought the story was a very adorable story, and yeah, it was a pretty good quick read for me. I managed to finish it, and I managed to finish it within like an hour. I would say an hour tops, because I managed to fly through this book. So, but yeah, and I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. The next book that I read in February was I was so excited to read this book, you have no idea. And that book was 4 by Veronica Roth. Just being in this world, being back in this world, it's not in the current present, but being back in this world in general was just amazing, especially being in 4's perspective. And pretty much in the beginning, how we find out how 4 became who he became in Divergent, and then we have a few stories in Divergent in his point of view, which I thought that was amazing. Just seeing some of the things we see in Divergent in 4's perspective is really, really cool, and it's just amazing, and it's just I loved being back in this world. I loved Veronica Roth's writing. I just loved being in my favorite male protagonist perspective in this story, and I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. And the next book that I read, I managed to finish in 3 minutes, literally 3 minutes into Valentine's Day. I finished A Little Something Different by Sandy Hall. This was a cute Valentine's Day read. I highly recommend if you guys ever want to read anything, something for Valentine's Day for next year. This is a good book for that. It was a little cheesy at first, but when you get more into the story, I was almost gonna put the book down, but then the main character Gabe pretty much saved the story for me because of the character development with him and pretty much the backstory of him and whatnot. I can't really say anything that much, but Gabe really much saved the story for me. This story is said in like 14 point of views. I am not lying, and from 14 different viewpoints, it's a love story. There's a lot going on. I think there was two perspectives that were really, really not necessary for this book. Like, I can see why she put them in the story, but they were really unnecessary, and if you read this book, you probably know who I'm talking about. I give this book a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. The next book that I read in February, I flew through this book. And you probably are not going to be surprised about this because I've mentioned it in a TBR before. I mentioned it in my haul video. And, oh my gosh, it's the book that I read that pretty much is getting me giddy right now. Ruby Circle. Ruby Circle by Richelle Mead. My favorite author. I pretty much mentioned it before of how this is the last book in the series, and it was an amazing, amazing ending for this world, for the character, for the series, for the overall series and world, and I'm sad that it ends because we're gonna get no more Vampire Academy world, and I'm really sad because I really do love the story and the characters involved in this world. You guys know I mentioned Vampire Academy a lot, and I'm sorry about that, but I really do love this world and the characters and the story and Richelle Mead and whatnot, and it just, I really did love the ending to the series, especially the epilogue. Oh my gosh, the epilogue. I need to make a review for this one. I have to make a review for this one, because if I don't, I'm probably going to regret it. But yeah, I gave this book, obviously, a 5 out of 5 stars, because I can't go any lower for that for Richelle, because I love her to death, and she makes the most amazing series. But I can't wait to get more books by Richelle Mead. I'm fangirling right now, so yeah, The last book that I managed to start and finish in the month of February was Looking for Alaska by John Green. I really loved this book a lot, more than Tiffio's. Yeah, I said it right here, right there. I preferred Looking for Alaska more than Tiffio's. For me, Tiffio's was really overhyped for me, so that's why I preferred you know, I don't really like Tiffio's that much because that book was just so overhyped for me. But then, but I still gave it a good rating because it was a really good written book. It's just, I just had so much high expectations, and I just, But then, reading Looking for Alaska, this was a fantastic, fantastic debut novel of anything, basically. This book made me happy, made me sad, made me really pissed off, and you guys know which part I'm talking about. If you've read this book, if not, just read this book and you'll understand why I was so pissed off at one point. But overall, the series was this book was incredible, and I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I lied earlier when I said Looking for Alaska was the last book I read this month. It was not. I forgot about my ebook that I read this month, and that was The Bad Beginning by Lemony Snicket. I was surprised with The Bad Beginning because I really did like it. Some of the parts of the books I remember from watching the movie when I saw it a long time ago, and I was so blown away by Lemony Snicket's writing. I thought his opening line, like, the book that you're holding in your hand is a very sad book, and it has a very terrible, sad book, or something along those lines. Very excited that I actually did start the series, and I can't wait to continue on, and hopefully be done before the Netflix TV show comes on, so yeah. That was it for this wrap-up video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments what you read in the month of February and what was your favorite book in that month. Mine was probably Ruby Circle. So, again, let me know in the comments down below what was your favorite book that you read in the month of February. I would like to hear what you guys read and what your thoughts were and whatnot. If you read any of the books that I've read, please feel free to say it in the comments below. Like I said, I probably should stop rambling and just end this video. Thank you guys so much for watching again. Hope you guys have a great morning, noon, and night. Goodbye!